Hey, it's the Riot Podcast. Now, I'll warn you, I believe we have had an entire pot of coffee over the course of this show.
How many cups is that then? Is that like 7, 8, 12?
It was a 10-cup pot.
10 cup.
It holds 12, but I never make 12. I always make 10. So
you had 11?
No, 8 or 9.
8 or 9? Okay.
Yeah, which is more than my usual allotment. Considering I also drank a 44-ounce Diet Mountain Dew on my way in this morning.
Oh, no. Well, it's fine, guys. I don't think it really showed too much in the podcast today, so it'll only affect us the rest of the day. Quite
frankly, the fact that it did show because I was awake at all.
You made it.
That's what it took just to get to a baseline.
Well, again, like we said, we'll see how that pans out for the rest of the day today.
Yeah. So in the show today, we talk about air filters.
Mm-hmm. Aww.
We talk a lot about the importing and exporting of cheese.
It's not just cheese. I mean, that is a big focus of it.
It led the discussion.
It's not just cheese. So just in case you don't want to tune in and keep listening, it is something that really affects a lot of things if you're trying to buy something, why you can't find it still or why it may take a long time for the place to get it in stock.
Well, we also talk about Russian moon bases, Alaskan vaccines. Meg messages and talks to us about Oreos, and we get into a little chit-chat about what we're streaming right now. An iPhone that works months later after it's lived underwater. That one's kind of cool.
Amazing. I mean, are they lying, or do you think it's real? So listen and let me know.
And later in the show, we talk about what we wish we knew. Like, if you could tell yourself something now, 1 year ago, as the pandemic was hitting, what would you tell yourself? Mm-hmm. So feel free to message those to us, to text us, 877-2RadioU. I'd love to know.
Yeah, thanks to Nate for bringing us some little bundt cakes this morning. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that makes it in there, but thanks for supporting and being so sweet. We celebrated our show's anniversary last week with a lack of cake, and we've been talking about it a bit, and so he dropped off some this morning.
Lack of cake? Mm-hmm. No more.
Nope.
No more.
What about that lack of cheese? No, just someone brings us
Nikki,
by
it's complicated, but if you have time, I'd like to tell you about it.
Please, because I'm a little concerned, but I feel like for our anniversary, we should have celebrated with some, and we just did not.
Man, I'll tell you, cake and cheese, that's all you need.
Oh, a cheesecake. We should have just gotten that, the best of both. That'll work.
That'll do, pig.
Thanks for listening. And as always, text and say hello. Introduce yourself. Let us know where you're listening from and your name. Text 877-2RadioU and tell us you're a podcast listener.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
It's the worst of the Riot on RadioU.
I might have just gotten excited over the lamest thing in the history of lame things to be excited about. I was like, oh, that air purifier went on sale today.
Hey, I heard genuine it's good news.
I've been waiting. Yeah, no, today's the day. Guys, I've been thinking that maybe an air purifier, it might be a good idea, for the home basement, homestead, whatever.
Well, because you had been working out of it for so long, maybe the air quality would help a bit too.
Yeah, so you get this little filter.
Nothing says adult like this, just to let you know. This is it.
Like, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get myself an ironing board.
Like, this is supposed to be game day.
Toilet brush. It's really exciting. It's really,
Clean
really
some
exciting.
Stuff. Oh, my gosh. If you do your laundry today, that's the worst.
I know. Like, I would be hitting all the major disappointments of adulthood. No, I, legit think I'm going to do this. I saw yesterday that pollen was at a high.
Yeah.
It was in the red.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw that, I was like, it's fine. I can't breathe, but it's fine.
The non-breathing and the itching has started. So, yay.
My eyes itch.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So,
every time I scratch my skin, I just get a welt. And when I get a welt, then I get a scar, like when it de-welts itself. So I was like, this is the tough time of the season.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
We love allergies. Yay.
It's wonderful. So it will help capture pet odors and smoke, kitchen, and other household odors. That's
is
the
that
word.
it? Okay.
That's the word.
All right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and it will give me an air quality visual indicator, which displays air quality in the room with LED lights.
Hey!
It's Wi-Fi enabled?
It's nice. It's really nice. I have one, and you can use the app to kind of see what's going on. It can tell you if it's good or if you need to change the filter in it, and that's about it.
All right. Well, this is all very exciting. Who can't wait to go buy yourself an air filter today?
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
And you didn't think it was going to be a good Wednesday, but you have a lot to look forward to.
What did I tell you guys? Best Wednesday of this week so far.
It's surely shaping up to be that.
Okay, for real though, like I've never bought an air purifier in my life. Do you notice a difference?
I do, especially since I have 3 dogs. Yeah. So I put it in my bedroom because I had a lot of dog hair everywhere. And it's really sucks some of that out. And it just, feels a little bit cleaner.
Okay. Well, I like the sound of that.
A little brighter of a room in the air quality. Yeah. So, especially during this time of the year.
What you're about to hear will live on the internet forever. Sorry, internet. The worst of the Riot podcast.
So, Nikki, over the weekend, Eddie Murphy made a triumphant return to Zamunda.
It is coming to America, too.
Well, it's really just coming to America.
But it was the second one. Because the first one came out, would that have been an 80s movie or something? Or 90s?
Boy, I'm coming to America. Let's find out. 1988.
Hey, so the 80s.
Yeah, I read an article. This is slightly off topic about who directed Coming to America. It was John Landis. John Landis directed The Blues Brothers, Animal House. He also directed another Eddie Murphy hit, which was Trading Places. I did not know that. So apparently Eddie Murphy and John Landis really didn't get along.
But they worked together a lot?
They did. They made, I think, 3 or 4 movies together, and they clashed a lot, but
sometimes that's just how that is.
Continue to be successful. So, Coming to America, according to Screen Engine. Now, this is essentially a Nielsen-like company for streaming services, where they will tell you part of their agreement, don't understand it, but whatever, is that they're not allowed to disclose actual numbers for people that are watching. But they say that Coming to America is one of the biggest streaming debuts of all time. Say that it beat out Wonder Woman 1984, that it beat out Borat subsequent movie film, and that it was the top stream movie over the weekend.
So they say it edged out. I don't know if this is like a lot of what's the word? Competition, but the SpongeBob movie on Paramount Plus.
Well, that was
maybe, for family. Usually family movies can bring in bigger numbers than, a comedy. And I assume it was, maybe an R rating, but they say that.
No, if it was or not.
Is it even rated? I don't know how that went, because it was really an Amazon Prime exclusive, it was only there. So they said that it was, more high profile and better numbers than that.
I don't see a rating on it. The original here is rated R, but I don't know about this one. But yeah, you're right. With the SpongeBob movie, you usually expect family movies to do well. Yeah. And that was their big launching off point for Paramount Plus. But no, Eddie Murphy has done it again.
They say that Amazon bought the movie, The Coming to America, from Paramount itself.
Wow. Boy, Paramount, where were you on that one?
I don't know. Would it have fit more there? But for Amazon, that was from the weekend.
All right. Well, I guess congratulations to Eddie Murphy for his try. You know what? We all win. It's Amazon.
Because of Prime?
Yeah. And as an Amazon Prime member, I'm sure that the purchase of Coming to America and its subsequent success will only drive the price of my Prime membership down.
Not up, not the other way.
No.
I didn't see anybody who watched it and enjoyed it. A lot of people kind of felt like it was just a rehashing of Coming to America, which for some in movie circles considered to be a classic comedic film. So.
Yeah. We'll leave that up to you, but
we're just telling you it got some big numbers.
Big numbers.
You're basically listening to a real-time cringe compilation. This is The Riot on RadioU.
Now, I can't 100% confirm this, but living in Idaho must be pretty terrible.
Why?
Well, the reason I say that is because I keep seeing people in Idaho setting world records.
So you think they're bored or something? Or they're just driven to show that Idaho is a great place if you're competitive and want to keep pushing yourself.
So we talked about, what was it? Is it the same guy? It's the same guy.
Was it the clothes folding people or what was that?
No, how many times you could put the clothes on?
Yeah, this couple do like this world record thing where I think they're just really bored. And a few weeks ago, they did one about how many shirts that you could put on the fastest.
Yeah, like in 30 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, he had tried one, and the world record failed because he didn't pull the shirts all the way down, like around his waist. And so then they tried it again, and they were able to have that world record. Now he has another one.
He does. Let's see. He and his neighbor, Seth,
this one doesn't seem as...
They now
have
amazing. The Guinness World Record for how many times they passed a giant beach ball back and forth.
Wow, they're bored. They're staying at home. Maybe this is his job, because he does YouTube videos, so this could be everything.
I guess. I mean, in fairness, he is probably the only person that's been mentioned on the Riot twice this year that hasn't gone to jail.
So, yeah, actually, good point. It's not a follow-up story.
Or ruined a monarchy, like one or the other.
They passed a giant beach ball back and forth 4,169 times.
They sure did.
Yeah.
They
had to stand
did.
At least 6.5 feet apart at all times. They were not allowed to hold the ball for more than 2 seconds between the passes, and they managed the 4,169 catches before they dropped the ball. They don't say who was the one who dropped the ball.
Did they say how long it took for them to do it? Because that's what I don't see.
I do not. I do see there's a video. That's at 3:19, but I'm sure that was edited.
It's them doing it like a super fast speed, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
All right. Well, I mean, congratulations. He has broken, David Rush in Idaho has broken more than 150 Guinness records, and he promotes STEM education.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so what we're saying is maybe Idaho's not boring. Maybe this guy is just really bored.
He could be really bored, but it seems like he actually really likes doing this. Like, this is his drive. That's exciting. That was his whole thing. And he probably made more money off of it than we would imagine.
I haven't found mine yet, but I'm going to keep looking.
I know. Maybe this isn't it, but he enjoys this, so he raises money for it.
The worst of the worst. Are you ready? The Riot Podcast. RadioU. RadioU.
The good news in the middle of all of this is that Disneyland is about to open.
Yay. People have been waiting on that. Well, kind of, sort of. Not for everybody, right?
Man,
there's some qualifiers for it, but people have been wanting Disneyland to be open. Disney World in Orlando, it's been open for a while following its guidelines. But for Disneyland with California, tougher guidelines, they were not able to open.
Yeah. You know what? We just need to go to Disney World. I think it's got to be the perfect time, right? There still aren't as many people going.
Yeah, but they say though that's gone away. Really? Like it is still now.
So it's all people like me that are like, let's go.
It was very charmed in the very beginning because it was just a lot less people. But they say that at this point it's not far off from exactly how it used to be, but now you got to wear your mask and do all that stuff, and it can take longer at certain points.
So one of the big new draws for Disneyland this year is they were supposed to open the Avengers campus.
Yeah.
That was supposed to be a this year thing, and they said that it will not be open at California Adventure until later this year. So if you show up, now they also haven't given an exact opening date yet. Apparently in California, they could open as early as April 1st, but they won't. They say that it's going to be sometime in late April that they'll be opening, but they will be coming back, and that they will be bringing back 10,000 furloughed employees.
Mm.
Wow. 10,000 people that have been laid off with the option of returning to work. That is wild.
Some of the rumors I heard yesterday, but I don't know if it was just people saying, but they said that maybe it'll open really only for if you live in California.
Oh, okay.
And you go, but I haven't seen much more on that, so I'm not sure if that's a for sure.
You know what? I don't know the answer to that. Now, that has been the answer like in Japan.
Mm-hmm.
And again, don't know if it's still that way, but what was Universal Orlando where they're Super Nintendo Land is going to be. We had read up on that, and it was basically like if you lived in the same prefecture, which is like a state, you could still visit, but you couldn't
if you were outside of that.
Certainly couldn't travel internationally, but also couldn't travel outside the prefecture to come and go to.
Well, that way they
Disney.
would say they could limit the potential of someone coming from out of state and coming in, being sick, and just because of being limited capacity, which I think is like 35% around what it's supposed to be or would normally be. The only way to do that is to limit, where you're coming from.
Yeah. So the good news is if you're planning that Anaheim vacation, which none of us are. You could
still go to the shopping center outside of it, but that's about it.
Yeah. I mean, in reality, going to, I don't know, what do they call it in Anaheim? Like, it's not downtown.
You mean
Disney
like the
anymore.
Disney Springs and the
Disney
other
Springs,
stuff? Yeah.
What are is that what they call it in California?
I don't know. It's always, to me, just been the area you walk through to get into Disney.
Let me just put it this way. If you would just go there and stand in line for 2 hours and then buy some souvenirs, all of which are available outside the park, you've had the experience.
But they have such long lines to just get into the shopping center, let alone into Disney. But that's been such a long time, being shut down for over a year at that point. So if you've been wanting Disneyland to open, they say after April 1st, sometime later that month.
The Riot with Obadiah and Nikki on RadioU.
I do. Sometimes I'm telling you, like, it's the casual moments in between the show that really make for the best stuff, because Nikki just says to me, so Costco's running out of cheeses.
I'm just reading you the article.
It is such a slow news day.
If it's not about, the Markle stuff and you just don't want to hear about the royalty and monarchy stuff, then you could now learn about Costco and its cheese shortage.
It is one of those things
that hits you more.
Don't you guys have any news other than all that stupid whatever?
We do.
Who wants to talk about the logistics of cheese importing? Anybody?
Well, they're saying that there is a shortage of shipping containers everywhere, but that's causing problems in a lot of West Coast ports. So in LA, Long Beach, Oakland, and Seattle, and it has caused delay for shipping containers to send out products. So places, not just Costco, but Costco was referenced with its cheese shortage. They're saying that it's causing not enough shipment containers to get the items to them.
So, it's everything now. Like, you can't buy this, you can't buy that. And now you're telling me it's harder to get cheese.
It's not just cheese. They're saying seafood, olive oils, furniture, sporting goods, lawn, garden equipment. Crocs has been affected, Urban Outfitters, Foot Locker, Dollar Tree, because there's not enough containers to send out items so that they can get the merchandise.
Okay, there's something somewhere, wherever, like, there used to be enough containers. Yeah. So what has happened?
They're stuck in different ports, so they're just not going through the ports.
Okay, so they're not getting through the system.
They're not emptying out enough, so then it can go back and have more items shipped across. So there's a backlog of them.
Okay, that I understand.
Yeah.
But the part that I didn't understand is like, hey, we don't have enough containers. Like, we did. What happened to them?
They're not being cleared fast enough to then go back out and get more items. And that's why when you go to the store, you're like, but my favorite cheese and my favorite sporting good items and my Crocs. You can't get them.
I told you guys, the bike shortage is real. That's real. I'm still thrilled I managed to get some friends bikes so that we could all bike together, because, man, when you're buying your bike in the first week of February,
you're just desperate.
And there hasn't been. I've been to Costco 3 times since then. There are no bikes there.
Oh, it's just not.
It's not coming back.
Well, the shortage for all these items still goes back to people are buying more of those items in the first place because of that reason. So there's a greater demand, and they say that there's now pressure for companies to do air cargo more than, just in the boat. I guess.
Yeah.
Sending them in the box on the boat. So they want to do air cargo more, but that is 8 to 10 times more expensive than ocean freight, which means potentially if a company starts doing that, prices will increase for the cheese and the other items that you wanted.
Is there cheese that's worth a premium?
I don't know. How desperate are we?
I don't know. I don't. Let's just stop.
Cheese is just the main example, but there's a lot of other things that could potentially be even more expensive because of this.
Well, I was just going to go on, a 3-minute analysis of my cheese consumption, but let's just take a break.
You don't want to? All right, that's fine. You don't have to.
You know what? Bottom line is, I like cheese.
This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Remember, you can text us anytime you like. It's like Aaron did. Aaron said, isn't it nice to have a slow news day for a change?
You mean our shipping container story? Is that slow news?
Cheese logistics. Come on.
Well, again, it's not just cheese, but they're just talking about why. A lot of times you're going to the store and there's items that you're just waiting on that normally appear there, but they're not. That's why. They're just out of shipping containers.
Joe, listening from Fort Wayne this morning, he says, real talk, my job is ordering supplies for a furniture company. We can't get 3 or 4 supplies because of shipping containers.
It's a real thing.
It's real.
It's a real problem.
Look, Joe's here to talk about the furniture industry. Look at all the things being represented this morning.
See, there's a lot of opportunities here, so you can just join in the conversation.
Nate says, does this shortage mean the rise of American-made products like the great American cheese? USA. USA.
You're right, Nate. Because I guess the shipping container thing is more for like things internationally coming in. So we can still get our American cheese if we want.
Hey, man, I love Kraft cheese. Don't let them lie to you. A slice of Kraft that you melt on like a burger or something. Come on.
Have you ever tried to melt the other cheeses? It doesn't melt like this.
It doesn't melt.
It doesn't melt like this at all.
Which either fills me with hope or
well, it makes
concerns.
me worried why it would be so meltable compared to the other stuff. But I bet you there's other like American cheeses, not Kraft, but like, you know, nicer cheeses.
Not that I know of.
You don't care.
Kraft is American.
That's America.
The American
right?
Revolution was brought to you by Kraft cheese.
You're right. I just didn't know like different styles. That's more of like a sandwich cheese. I was looking for something else.
I don't think I've ever put American cheese on anything but like a cheeseburger or a turkey sandwich.
Yeah, that's about it.
Grilled cheese.
You wouldn't put it on like, you know, the cheese board or on the fancy ones.
That's probably
charcuterie board.
That's probably why it's called American cheese, because stupid fat American put on sandwich. That's
now we're just turning sour here.
Not sour, Nikki. I'm just describing why I think, a lot of people have a lot of prejudices against, but that's what happens when you're the best.
Well, I think if you're into cheese, if it's already sliced for you, then it's like low quality.
That's right.
If it's already in its servings, whereas nicer cheeses, you're supposed to cut yourself.
You're buying a wheel.
Yeah, like if you have a cheese slicer, then you're a few steps up.
I think maybe, and let's be clear, the show, like we're in the early stages here, but if you're into cheese, that might be my favorite phrase of the morning.
If you're into cheese.
If you're into cheese.
I want the low carb and the keto stuff for a while. Like you're like, hey, what can I eat? I'll eat cheese. Okay.
I bought a wheel of cheese.
Yeah. When you start thinking it seems like affordable and a nice snack choice.
You guys want to come over and spin the wheel?
You're listening to The Riot. Let's all work together today to live life with the patience of a Nikki dealing with an Obadiah.
Gotta hang in there and get through it.
You're listening to The Riot.
I want to say a big thank you to Nate and Jen. They sent us some bundt cakes. I'll let you say it.
Don't like that word? Bundt cakes.
Cakes.
We were talking about last week, we celebrated our show's anniversary, but we did not get a cake. And normally we do, and we just did not. And now we have little mini cakes over there, and they're delicious. So thank you guys for sending that, Nate. I couldn't tell if you dropped it off or someone else did because of COVID. Like no one can.
Yeah, you can't come in, and we can't come out.
We miss thanking you guys personally. So everybody just usually drops things at the door, and that's it. But thank you so much for that.
It's kind of dumb if you think about it. Like we can't come out and see you, but if you leave the box, we can get the box. What?
You're not supposed to.
We're not supposed to think it
You're
through.
not supposed to think about all that. I mean, that's why a lot of people have a lot of issues with some of the stuff, but
I know.
We do appreciate it.
Yeah, that was delicious. Also, Aaron, this makes me laugh, but hey, since it's a slow news day, can you tell the other Aaron what's up? That's the text message.
We have a lot of Aarons that are texting every morning, and so you guys are always laughing when you hear someone else with your name.
So other Aaron says hi.
Says hey.
Anybody else have any Matts want to pass on a what's up to the other Matts?
Anybody else want to join in? You can text 877 to RadioU, even if it's a hi to someone else that is texting us too.
Riot Podcast, RadioU.
Where do I start? I don't think I'm thinking clearly here the last couple of weeks. You say
it's
what
seasonal. Just blame allergies now.
Yeah. And so I spent a big chunk of time yesterday, not like all day, but over the last couple of days, I've just been trying to buy an Xbox.
Wait a minute. All right, we're waiting because I want to hear the whole reason. Because you have your PlayStation. I thought we weren't doing the Xbox thing.
We don't need it.
The PlayStation's plenty fine.
Stupid. I know.
Still have your Switch. You got your Oculus still. You're all good. You got your graphics card.
I was going to meet up with some friends online to play something. Yeah. And then when we were like, all right, and it was like, oh my gosh, it's happening.
I can play with friends.
And they all had Xboxes.
And you got rid of yours.
Yep.
Oh, no.
So, and here's the thing is I'm sitting there like, this was a few days ago.
Sure.
I'm like, dude, don't. Like, just don't. Because here's what happens. You're going to buy an Xbox and you'll never play with friends. The only reason these people were even available to play at all was because you don't have one. Once you have one, they'll never be available
will
again.
Stop. Yeah.
Like they'll never be available again. So you can either way, you're not playing with anyone, and it's either because you don't have one or once you buy one.
Well, why don't you buy one of the older ones then?
They're practically the same price.
Oh, okay.
I mean, seriously, like it's crazy. We were talking about supply chain shortages.
Yeah.
Everything's expensive all the time now. There's no like, hey, let me get you a good deal. No.
Why don't you go back further to like the original one?
I should.
If it doesn't mean like you have to have the newest
one. And now
one.
that's a collector's edition, so that's impossible to get. Like there's no
Never mind.
So yesterday I was working from home in the basement after the show. And I just had a Twitter window open that was like just Twitter. And so like I follow a couple of places and they'll tweet when things become available. And so it pops up that the Xbox was available at Costco. And I was like, well, I actually thought to myself, I was like, don't question it. If you don't want it, just return it or sell it.
Well, at least you can play with it first.
You know what? Like you'll play with it for a week.
Decide
whatever.
if you want it.
It's fine. So I didn't have this is so ridiculous. I'm like, I put it in the cart. Like I'm all the way to checkout. I don't know the CVV number on my credit card.
Yeah.
I have to run up 2 flights of stairs to grab my credit card and run back down.
You don't know your 3-digit number?
I didn't know it.
That's the thing everybody remembers.
Oh, I do now. Don't you worry.
Oh, was it gone then? Oh, you missed it.
The time it took me to get up and down, it was gone.
Yeah, save that thing. And then all you have to do is remember your 3 digits. You don't have to remember your card number.
I know. So then I was just like, but wasn't this better for all of us?
No, I think
the
seed has been planted and you're on it.
Do you know what's part of what has done it for me is that I got an Xbox Elite controller for my birthday from Costco, and it's still returnable. That thing is so stupidly expensive that I could practically pay for half an Xbox just by returning it.
Well, why don't you see if it's at the warehouse instead of just buying it online?
You mean the
Xbox?
Yeah. Maybe I will. I mean, I got to go over there and get an air purifier today, so.
Oh, well, you need a little adult and a little fun. Every time you go. And get some cheese while you're there from our earlier story. Before they run out,
all the cheese is going to go away.
Oh, well, whatever happens.
No, I'm confessing it because sometimes
accountability.
That's right.
Is that it?
When you say it out loud, it's so embarrassing. You're just like.
But I can only help you during the showtime, man. You got to speak up if you're thinking these thoughts outside of the show.
I know.
Okay, because next time you're like, I'm just going to buy an Xbox too.
She's right.
Someone's going to talk you down from that.
She's right, guys.
All right?
Okay.
Because who's going to be there when the bill comes in? Your friends are not. You got to pay for it.
They won't even be there when the Xbox comes in.
I know. They'll be like, hey, we suddenly got rid of ours and we don't want to play with you anymore.
Hey, guys, I got an Xbox. Oh, well, now you can't play with us for a different reason.
You need to go find PlayStation friends or get them to go out. Why is it you that have to go out to buy something? Why can't they go out to find a PlayStation?
Yeah, I feel like this goes back to my childhood where it's just like you always want to be ready because Dad could be coming at any time.
There it is. There's the heart of it.
It's my fault that he didn't come. So you have to be ready.
You're like, why am I the way that I am?
You got to be ready.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah. Hey, just go get some more coffee, okay?
No way. I'm going to get a bundt cake.
Go over there and get some cake.
It's really good with coffee, by the way.
The Riot is well-versed on many different topics.
They're shy at first, but they're quite skilled at conversation.
This is The Riot on RadioU.
Man, I'll tell you, should have bought GameStop, Nikki.
You mean back when all that stuff with the stock stuff?
Dude, I've got a friend of mine who bought GameStop when it was like, he bought so high. It was like $300 and he bought in, and it's like, no, this is not how you do it. You had to buy last week when it was $5.
But then it came back again and had a burst again, but it wasn't as much or as long as the original one.
So it went down to, I think, around $60, and then it's back up. Like yesterday, it was up to $240. Let's see. Why don't we take a look at it now? GME, and I'll get you a current price, $246 as of right now.
Yeah.
So if you bought at $300. Not great. If you bought at $5,
better,
great.
Way better.
Great.
I wonder how many people got into the whole buying and selling stuff with GameStop. And honestly, we don't know a lot about stocks and stuff, so I never wanted to get into doing that. But it was tempting to be able to try to get some extra money.
You know what? Here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that, well, no, excuse me, not what I'm thinking, but here's what I'd like to know. How does this affect, if you and I just went over to GameStop right now, like, how's it affecting business at GameStop? Because the stock has almost become a joke, a game,
it's
something.
Trick. It's like it's a trick. So it's not like people are going over to GameStop and it's valued more to us as like a consumer.
Right.
But it's valued as a company way more than it used to.
I just look at it, I'm like, yeah, look, you guys can afford to give me some better trade now.
Give me more money if I go in.
You're like, come on. Like, you can give me a little extra. How about an extra 20% on that trade right there?
I still don't feel comfortable doing that. Now, Bitcoin, that's still way up, and that feels more...
Ooh, let's check my Bitcoin.
That feels more like it's something to get into than the GameStop stock.
Let me see. I'm waiting for my app to spin up here.
To see what your Bitcoin current total is?
Dude.
How much has you made?
So far, keep in mind that over the course of all of this, I put in originally $20. A couple weeks ago, I put in $100. I'm at $266.
There you are. There you are.
Pretty good, right?
I feel like it was up higher, or is that the highest it's been?
No, it's the highest I've seen it go so far.
What are you going to do with it? Just let it sit?
Just going to let it sit.
Till the day he dies.
If I can figure out what day I'm going to die, I'm going to take it out the day before.
Take it out and enjoy it then, or at least let family members know, like they know they can get your Bitcoin.
Here's what my blockchain is, or whatever.
So Trevor said he bought $500 worth of GameStop at $60 and pulled out his initial investment yesterday.
That's a great idea. So that means, you got your money back, and now you're just watching your profit go up and down. It's good.
Good idea.
It's good. So, well, Trevor, I hope that you make $1 bajillion and then you feel favorably inclined toward me.
Not even just RadioU, but mostly to you?
I mean, I appreciate RadioU, but at some point.
Still just Obi.
Still me. Ooh, do you think that I could buy some GameStop stock, walk in and act like I own the place? I own this place.
Oh, don't. I bet you people
I'm
have.
a stockholder now.
No, nothing's worse than that. That's a bad attitude. And don't do that to some poor employee.
Don't tell me there's not an Xbox back there. You get your butt back there. I own this place.
You go and find it for me.
You know what? I'll go in the back myself. I'm an owner.
Don't do that.
Obadiah and Nikki tried their hardest, and that's what really matters. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
Alaska has just become the very first state to offer the COVID-19 vaccine to essentially everybody.
So if you are 16 or older, you have to live or work there.
You can't fly in.
No, because they've had people do that and pretend to work in Alaska.
Vaccine tourism.
It was popular there in the beginning, and in some places really cracked down to make sure like that wasn't happening. But I feel like Alaska maybe was population-wise, it seems smaller. So like they got through everybody else to where it's
I'm
open
sure that's
now.
Probably true. And so that's where they are. So they say 16 or older, as Nikki was saying, you live or work there, you can get the vaccine. And the governor there also has had COVID. So he said he did not become severely ill, Did not want to be laid up in the house again. Man, high five, hallelujah on
right
that
there.
one.
They're saying that Alaska is trying to rebuild the pandemic tattered economy, and they want to make sure that everybody can have the vaccine before the summer tourist season.
Sure.
So they opened it up to now, like we said, 16 or older in Alaska, in case you're like, where? 16 or older Alaska, live or work there.
So I can't remember what was the last kind of projections, but they're saying the majority of Americans that want it, I think it was by July, would
I think so.
probably be able to have had it. And the CDC did just update kind of their guidelines for how people who have been vaccinated can interact. And that basically comes down to, like, you can pretty much just hang out. Like, you kind of, in a lot of ways, go back to life as normal under the new guidelines that they've published.
But I don't see a lot of people saying beyond like the 3 months, like,
I don't know.
How long will the vaccine still work? I mean, once you get a taste of that freedom back again, like, you're not going to be watching your days until you got to watch again.
I don't know.
So it's just hard to figure out what it's supposed to really be.
Yeah, hard to tell. I'll tell you this much. I believe I've said this before, but I'm going to throw it back out at you. You don't want COVID. You don't want it. Like, I'm so tired. So tired.
Well, you're a lingering COVID person.
I'm a long haul COVIDer, and
they don't have anything that says, like, if you get the shot, that's not like that would change your COVID things,
they do.
Or would it?
Well, the recommendation from the infectious disease doctor,
which we got to visit the other day, and then got donuts after.
Yeah. Anyway, he told me that they're seeing roughly 40% of people who are long-haul COVIDers, which make up about 10% of those who have had COVID. So as you can see, like, man.
You're special.
They say that with that vaccination, they're seeing their symptoms go away.
Oh, it does help? Yay! So, well, that'll be something to look forward to. I think then you should be able to skip the line a bit.
I know. I kind of wish, but
you should be able to.
Well, it's kind of like we've said before. Like, if you're not in the COVID world, like, if you're not on a ventilator or whatever, and this is not a bad thing. I'm just saying they're not as concerned because they're trying to work on people that are, desperately ill.
Of course.
And I am not desperately ill. I just want to lay down all the time. And I mean, which is not that different
from before COVID, but now you really
want to.
You really
That's
have
the only
to.
thing that's different.
If not, if you're like, where are you going? And you're taking a trip to Alaska, like, I'm sure we know some people. If they have extras,
I'll work something out.
If not, you can go try to get an extra somewhere. Sometimes they have that.
Do you live in Alaska, sir? I'm alive in Alaska right now.
Yeah, you're not lying.
So one could say that I am living here.
In case you're wondering, yes, we do get complaints.
They have gone too far. This time, they are going to be held accountable.
You're listening to The Riot on Radio U.
Well, here's some great news. China and Russia are going to work together to build a lunar space station.
Ooh.
So a little spot on the moon.
Lunar shooter?
It's a lunar shooter.
Not that. That's a lunar shooter.
Still, though.
Well, okay.
It's my little lunar shooter.
Lunar shooter?
Little lunar shooter.
So it's not a team effort with everybody. It's just them.
It's not.
Okay, just Russia and China.
Though, in fairness, it is a team effort in that Russia and China are working together to do this. They say that they're either going to put this space station in orbit around the moon or they're going to put it on the surface of the moon. They haven't decided which. And part of what's happening here is that, one, we don't even know. We don't know that much about the moon. For all we know, we could get up there and find out that if you dig deep enough, it's diamonds. We don't know. So there's that. There's speculation that maybe there's all kinds of things on the moon. But if you wanted to go to Mars, you really need a staging area first. You go to the moon.
Oh, so that would be the first place you would go to?
Oh, yeah, because it's the closest one. It would be the place where you would test technology, where you would figure things out. I was reading, I can't remember if we talked about it, but one of the latest things we've tested is, can fish eggs survive a rocket launch? And so what they've discovered is, yes, they can. And so I think it was sea bass or something. Like, there was some kind of a fish.
Oh, so you could farm fish?
Yep. That they could shoot into space the eggs, and they would be able to build, a fish farm.
I don't like when they're farmed. No, just
I only like cage-free, farm fresh.
Yeah, I mean, I've been taught to look for, when it comes to our fish.
Yeah. Certain things.
Straight from the ocean, not farm raised.
Yeah.
So wild
right.
caught. But if we're not ready yet for it and I still have to have that, then I'm not interested.
I'm afraid that's the sticking point for me in space.
I don't want the tank fish.
Yeah.
So I can't go yet then, I guess.
Guess we'll just have to wait on that one.
Yeah, but it's still, you got to start with something, right?
Right. So they're coming together, which, man, is anybody else watching For All Mankind? That's all about Lunar.
Wait. Anyone? That's the Apple TV space show.
Man, it's so specific.
It's good to explain, just in case.
Thanks, Nikki.
You're welcome.
Because you're right.
Maybe not as many.
Yep.
Many people watch him, but it is critically acclaimed.
I'm absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
And it's reached the point where there are opposing moon bases on the moon.
Oh, so it's a similar storyline?
Kinda. Let's just hope it goes in a better direction than what's happening up there
Spoiler.
now in the fake one.
Oh, in the TV show.
Yeah. So there you got it. China and Russia going to the moon. And Nikki, word is we're going to be able to have fish up there. It's everything you've ever wanted.
Everything you love about the Riot, plus a handy-dandy fast-forward option. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
You know what? I like to forgive people, and I just like to let things go. But here's the thing. Here's what I've noticed. What's so funny? Yeah.
Just, it doesn't bother you. It just washes away.
That's right. But what I found is there are certain things that I'll let go. I'll forgive that. But then other things where I'm like, wow, you're marked forever.
I'll never forget.
I'll never forgive. I'll never forget. I'll whatever. And then what I've noticed is I also have friends that are like me. They're like, we're very forgiving. But then they have certain things that they're like, oh, well, obviously not that. Of course we're not going to forgive that.
Well, don't you feel like sometimes you have a trigger too? It's just, you just can't, you have a much harder time forgiving and forgetting it. And when it happens or you remember it, it starts it all over again.
Oh, and you mean you have to go through it again?
Yeah, it just triggers it all.
That is honestly part of forgiveness that I've experienced is you have to
keep forgiving.
Yep, you have to forgive them again. It's kind of a present progressive tense. You have to keep forgiving them and keep letting it go because sometimes the pain of the transgression of the thing that has happened is still there. And even though forgiving, it can be an act of the will sometimes, you're still working in process to deal with the pain that has kind of been inflicted on you there. But I guess what I really want to say is that we all have these things that we think are bad, but not that bad. And then we all have these things that we're like, no, that's so bad. And I find that one of the main things that separates me from some of my friends is the things that they think is so terrible that I don't, and things that I think is so terrible that they don't. And then, of course, we get to fight about those things when in reality, and this is the hardest part for all of us to take, is that God sees all of it. He thinks it's all terrible. He wants to write you all off, except that's not who he is. You see, God loves you, accepts you, forgives you and me and the other person and the other person. And so even though there may be people that have crossed that line that to you is not a line, it's the line, God is still up for forgiving that. You may have encountered people that look at you and say, hey, because you crossed this line, we do not forgive you. Well, I want you to know that God's not like that. I get it. There are certain consequences. You commit a felony and you can't carry a firearm or whatever. We forgive you, but okay, you don't get to have a gun anymore. I don't know. I get it. We live in the world, there are consequences, but I want you to know that you are loved, that God loves you. And if you have ever had somebody look at you and it's because of this, you can't be forgiven, you can't whatever. Again, consequences exist, but God loves you and will forgive you. All right, he just will. So that person in your life that you crossed their line or you crossed my line or I crossed their line or your line or all the lines, God will still forgive you. And you can have it. Just say, Jesus, I need to be forgiven. Here's what I did. I want you in my life and I want you to help me to do things your way. And you know what? There might be some things in your life that you could make right. God could help you make some things right, too.
The Riot Radio U.
I want to say good morning to Meg. Nikki, she just messaged us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Said she found the strawberry donut Oreos.
Ooh, a few people have told us about those. We haven't picked them up yet, though.
Yeah, so she told us where she found them, so that's something we could go looking for.
Everybody says they're pretty good.
She also says she finally sat down and watched Space Sweepers on Netflix.
Yeah, how did you like it?
That was the Korean
Space
science
show.
fiction.
Yeah.
Supposed to be like big budget, big deal, big whatever, and Netflix just bought it. She says that she watched it with a friend and they actually enjoyed it. The story overall was pretty cool, and they were able to make multi-language conversation work.
Cool.
Which is, if you go back, I don't know at what point, but like in Italian cinema, they would do where they would bring in this cast from all over the world, and you would memorize the script, you would speak your language, everybody else would speak their language, and then they would just dub over the other parts for release in different territories.
Oh, I see. But not all the dialogue.
Right. And so in the case of Space Sweepers, they've done that, but it's subtitled in English if they're not speaking English. Or I suppose whatever choice you make in the options. But as an English native speaker myself, that's my go-to.
Sure.
So she says it looks.
It's in my queue. I've got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes what I do, like on a Sunday, is you think, oh, you go and watch a movie, like pick something. I don't. I just go through my queue and I delete stuff out of it. So then I feel like I accomplished something. But really, I'm not watching a lot.
The thing that I've been doing at home is I've been trying to watch things I actually want to watch and not things that I feel like I'm supposed to watch.
Yeah.
So if something comes out and it's like, oh, I should really be watching this season of The Flash, and it's like, but I don't want to, then I just
you don't.
And there was a time when I would have watched anyway, like, no. These are the things I'm supposed to like. These are the things I'm supposed to watch. And that's how I end up watching really old, weird movies, because for some reason they pique my curiosity in a way that
not current things are.
Other things maybe don't.
Hey, we got to be stronger. If you're starting something too and you don't like it, instead of just like forcing your way through it, just stop watching it and just move on to something else.
That, I'll tell you what, Nikki, that has been another right there. That's a life changer right there.
What I do even more is I just skip to the end and I just watch the ending with it.
Yeah, it's like if you need to know how it ends, just wrap it up.
Perfect. But you don't have to go through all the middle waste of time stuff.
Come on, Nikki. Come on.
That works with a lot of movies and a lot of shows, because you kind of know the formula of like, all right, well, 1 or 2 episodes in, this conflict happens. Usually by like 12 or 13, there's another conflict. And then you get to the end and it wraps up and you don't need all the in-between stuff.
Man, you know what? Come on.
You'll probably like it more.
Nikki's changing your life right now.
So
Are you
have
listening?
the freedom with that and just skip through all the stuff.
Hey, you know what I have been watching? I haven't mentioned it on the show at all. Last year, I think it was, or maybe 2 years ago, the BBC did a 3-episode miniseries because they're not afraid to make things short. An adaptation of War of the Worlds.
Yeah, someone was telling us about that.
It's really good.
Is it good?
Yeah.
See, 3 episodes, guys. 3 episodes.
It's such a mini commitment. It's just a little commitment.
Here, our shows try to go, well, it used to be more like when it was broadcast shows, but they used to try to go so many so they can make it into syndication.
Yeah.
Now, we don't have to deal with that as much, but.
The Beeb is just like, whatever.
Make it 3. That's a lot, too.
Yeah.
For a British series.
A lot of times they're just 2.
It's just 2 and a Christmas special, a little something there.
So that's on Amazon. That's been pretty good. So, hey, Meg, thanks for sounding off, and thanks for finding those Oreos for us. Nikki will now, and I will now know where to look.
This is the worst of the riot on RadioU.
Man, this is crazy. There's a woman in British Columbia who has just been reunited with a friend she thought was lost forever.
Aww.
Her iPhone 11.
Oh, did she lose it somewhere?
She sure did. She was.
I love these heartwarming stories.
She was riding bumper boats on Lake Harrison last September when she dropped her iPhone 11 in the water. Well, we're in British Columbia here. I don't know where Lake Harrison is either, but.
That's what you do, I guess. You go on the bumper boats.
Yeah. So she said.
Is that like we do here at Magic Mountain, but there you're so like in the wilderness?
Water?
You actually do that in the water?
I think so, yeah. The staff told her, look, your phone's in deep water. It's over.
It's gone.
So then she says a couple days ago, she got a text message from her phone.
From in the room? From in the water?
So there was a couple that were going diving in Lake Harrison.
Oh, and they found it?
They found her iPhone. So they took it home, cleaned the dirt off, and it just turned on.
How does it still work? That's like frozen water.
So the husband, Clayton, says he got her phone number from the SIM card that was inside the device.
Yeah.
And they returned the phone to her. They say the microphone and the speaker are not as clear as they used to be.
Yeah.
But
so if you, at this point,
it still works.
She probably bought a new phone, right? Because it's been since last
did
fall.
The insurance?
Oh, yeah, the insurance maybe. But I bet, do you have to disclose that if you're going to try to sell that thing now? Hey, it spent many months in deep, cold water.
It's haunted.
Well, it's more like
the ghost of Lake Harrison.
Did it kind of, like how some fish will just kind of freeze over the cold months and then they just kind of wake up? Maybe it kind of did that.
Could be. I don't, you know what? It would make a great iPod for her. And I know that might sound ridiculous, but I'll tell you what I have. One of my old phones, I've basically turned it into a tiny media device that lives next to my bed. So that way I take my phone and I leave it in the bathroom. So that's where I get it. So I can't get at it at night.
Yeah.
This is a good thing. And then that little phone, I've got some
podcasts
downloaded and alarm, different things on that phone. And I know that sounds ridiculous, but I mean, it was just sitting there.
I don't know why, though, when you hear these stories, but yet the one time you dropped your phone shattered and
I dropped mine. It was in a puddle and it's gone, man.
And it's dead completely. But this thing has spent months and months in deep, cold water, but suddenly still works, but just as a little staticky.
It's so true, isn't it?
It's not fair.
It's so true.
But congratulations to them while we're still mad at the one time I dropped my phone on the piece of ice and it cracked and shattered.
Yeah, it hurts.
It does. It did. It literally hurt.
Yeah. Well, you know what, Nikki? I'm sorry that you didn't drop your... You know what it is? Everything in Canada is a little bit more polite, including the bottom of the lake.
It is good. And the people that found it who were kind enough to return it to her. Did she say what she's going to do with it or just doesn't mention?
She didn't say. She did say that next time she'd be more careful on the bumper boats.
The Riot, not everyone's a fan.
I wonder whose idea this was.
RadioU.
I really like this collection. I mean, I'm not on board for all of it, but Slate... which it's a website where, people write articles, and I really love, there's one place I follow on Twitter and they're like, today's Slate Splashing. So, and they're mocking it.
Sure.
But they've got a collection here. They ask people hey, if you could go back in time 1 year and give yourself a message at the beginning of all this pandemic stuff, hey, this is something that I'm going to tell you that is going to make this next year so much better for you.
Sure. What would it be?
What would you tell yourself?
That's a deep question right there.
What do you think it would be? Do you have a quick answer?
I would have said it's going to be a marathon and not a 2-week race. So it would be just a little heads up to know that it's going to be a long journey. Because I think it was harder for me at the beginning of the pandemic stuff because everybody kept saying, "Oh, it won't be much longer. It'll be this or that," and then it felt really overwhelming when you were several months into it and people were like, "Oh no, by the fall," or remember when people would say by Christmas, and then you kept going. I think it would have been nice to just have a heads up, no, it'll be a long time.
Yeah, I think the message I would give myself is start running. Because
working out and stuff.
Yeah, because I was basically I'll be back at the gym and whatever. Yeah. And over the course of the last year, I've probably worked out less than I have in my entire life.
Sure.
And I know it's taken a physical and mental toll for sure.
We should have said also don't eat that much. So we should have said that to ourselves. Don't do that.
At least the running would have helped a little bit.
Would have balanced it.
Yeah, at least just a little bit right there.
Did they have any examples of what others would say?
Just accept it. You're not getting married this year. Hang out with your friends outdoors,
mm-hmm.
That's not a bad one.
Good.
I saw a lot of people do that where it was we'll just hang out of doors. Just go ahead and cancel that flight.
Good one there. You know that one.
Go ahead and use your vacation days this summer. Boy, that was a good one.
Someone said, tell myself to buy GameStop stock way in the beginning. Good one there.
That actually is a good one. Katie says, no, it won't be 3 weeks. Get the sewing machine now.
Oh, make sewing masks at the beginning of it. Oh, that's good. And buy a better office chair.
Yeah, that's a great one. Let's see. The kids will not be back in school until 1 year from today. That's a good heads up. Don't buy a used microwave. I don't know why they wanted to do that, but it's still a pretty good one. And don't panic buy canned goods. You hate canned goods.
But I think you probably panicked there for a while because there wasn't a lot else.
I love that. Where it's just like, yeah, listen, you're buying all this food that you think is going to save you, and you won't eat it. Maybe,
I remember that weekend.
Maybe you could pass a message to yourself like, hey, toilet paper will be back. Mm-hmm. It's coming back,
well, you still needed to buy it back then, though. You still had to have it.
I know, but, like some people are like, I've got a spare room at my house is now full of toilet paper.
And you're still using it, so.
Like, I want to make sure my great-great-great-grandkids still have toilet paper just in case we run out of the seashells.
Well, that's an interesting question to propose.
Yeah, wow.
What would you have told yourself?
Oh, man. Do you remember? Did you do the thing where you wipe down all your packages and groceries with Clorox wipes?
I had a neighbor, though, that outside for like 5 minutes, just wiping it down, even mail, like envelopes and stuff, but I never did that.
Well, I mean, in fairness, like they told us to, and you're just like, okay, I don't want to die.
I wanted to not do one thing they at least told me.
That was my the one. That
defiance disorder. I wore the mask and separated enough, but I followed those rules, but I could only do so much.
There's only so much.
Worst of the Riot. RadioU.
I'm a little worried about where I'm headed. I went in to get some coffee and realized there was like just a little bit of coffee left. And then I checked the parking lot.
Yeah.
It was empty.
Yeah. Oh, it's just you and us.
Did you have coffee today?
I think it would equal about 1 cup of coffee.
Well, at least there's that.
Yeah. So it wasn't all you.
So
but
I can't say I drank the whole pot.
No, I had a cup.
Okay.
Were you worried there?
A little.
Sometimes when it's just out there, it can get away from you. And you're having a little bit more than maybe you planned.
Yeah. No, I've had a lot of coffee.
You sure wasn't Chris, or
he wasn't
no one
here
else
then.
was there then? Okay.
He wasn't here then. So we're making strides.
We're working on that.
We're moving ahead. Yeah. So
mine wasn't even a full cup. Mine was mostly creamer. I just want to throw that out there too.
I'm concerned.
Yeah, I've been going back and forth to kind of fill it up more often, but I mean,
it's fine.
It's just as it is. Don't worry about it yet.
It was a rough start, but we'll just keep pouring coffee on it till it gets better.
Well, I want to make sure we're not treating that as like the fix, because I know everybody's really super tired. Allergies and all, that'll make you tired.
Yeah.
But that's not going to fix it.
My current state of mind is one of abject terror headed into the weekend as we change the clocks.
Oh, yeah, we're losing an hour. Oh, it's even worse.
Idea.
All
it's
right.
Gonna be fine, though.
Yeah, I'm not worried about it. It's Monday. We should be worried about Monday.
I'm not even worried about Monday. It's Tuesday that I'm worried about.
Oh, yeah, even worse for the next week. All right, well, just a reminder, when you go to bed, whenever that is, on Saturday night, or it already might be Sunday, you're supposed to go ahead and forward your clocks because we're losing an hour.
Maybe I should just go ahead and go to bed early now. Like, well, I'll just go to sleep now. You guys, you know what? I'll even sleep right here in the corner. Just wake me up on Monday.
Wake you up then? Don't know if that works for the rest of the week. And don't put pressure on yourself to start going to bed early now. That's not going to work either. I mean, we don't want it to make it a habit or anything.
It's only going to make it worse.
That's why we're drinking so much coffee.
You got to let go of it. You just got to let it come.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Every day has its own challenges.
It'll be sunnier later, so I guess that's all right.
Don't worry about tomorrow. Let's just focus on today. You have everything you need. Everything's going to be fine.
The worst of the riot is over, but the fun can keep going.
Hey, I saw you checking out my goods.
Check the Riot blog or stalk us on social media.
You want to sample them? A little try before you buy, huh?
Through riot.radiou.com.
So what are you, Jason? An elastomobrancologist?